Those who have been chosen, the neglected case that you filed, the one that they buried, ignored, and insulted, has exploded across their entire system. As a result of the evidence that they believe to have been erased, it has spread beyond their control, revealing corruption networks that they had spent decades constructing. The particulars of your experience, the documentation that you meticulously kept, and the one-of-a-kind aspects of your case were all cosmically engineered to produce the greatest possible failure of the system when they were activated. This moment has finally come. As the authorities scurry to provide an explanation for their unexpected departures, your activation sequence is finished. It is now clear that the purging of corrupt power that you went through in solitude represented the most significant purge in the annals of recorded history. Your neglected case ultimately accomplishes what it was meant to do. Your perseverance resulted in the creation of ideal cosmic conditions. Refiling, resubmitting, and refusing to back down were all actions that you took without realizing that you were inadvertently establishing charges along their foundation walls. It was said that you were obsessed. The label of illusion was placed on you. The fact that you were genuinely chosen by forces that were beyond their comprehension, to serve as the match that would ignite their neatly constructed house of cards, was never acknowledged by them. Both day and night, their industrial shredders were in operation. The computerized scrubbers that they had worked extra hours. 3 times the normal remuneration was given to their evidence disposal teams. In spite of this, your paperwork managed to survive. Those documents that you submitted many years ago, the affidavit that everyone swore had vanished, and the recordings that they claimed had never existed in the first place, were all saved through ways that cannot be explained by technological means. Think about the ways in which your evidence violated natural law. Documents that you had supplied were discovered in archives that had been sealed and had not been accessible for decades. Your digital complaints were discovered in databases that were not related to the portals where they were initially submitted. There was a sudden apparition of physical evidence that they said had been destroyed in warehouse fires. The authorities were unable to provide an explanation for the unexpected appearance of the evidence. Cosmic fingerprints are contained within your data. Every page emits frequencies that were able to interrupt even their most advanced deletion mechanisms. You may now see them wriggle as they attempt to explain how your lost documents managed to escape dozens of methodical purges. When they are handling the very papers that they have said they have destroyed, you will notice that their hands shake. When they understand that certain authorities endure heart palpitations, headaches, and unexplained anxiety attacks whenever they physically touch your case papers, you will notice that they begin to sweat. The preservation of the evidence challenges the assumption of statistical likelihood. The truth that was vibrating through your documents was recognized by the global energies, and because of this, a protective shield was then erected around it. There is a cosmic firewall that cannot be breached by any human technology. All of the other things set fire. Everything else vanished into thin air. It was only your case that remained. The cosmic irony is revealed when their very own protocols are transformed into exposure blueprints. The confinement tactics that they developed, that were tailored specifically for your situation, are now serving as thorough maps of their whole network of corrupt individuals. For the purpose of concealing your evidence, the specialized classification systems that were developed currently serve as an ordered cataloging of their criminal activities. Because of the one-of-a-kind access restrictions that were designed to restrict your file, excellent audit trails have been produced for everyone who was involved in the cover-up. Everything that you asserted was, in fact, verifiable thanks to their exhaustive surveillance. Every single minute that they spent monitoring your activities, they produced evidence that confirmed the same plot that you claimed to be taking place. Unintentionally, the officials who gave their approval for your targeting produced a chain of illegal directives that can eventually be documented. Individuals who unknowingly carried out those directives were responsible for the generation of proof of their own culpability. Your evidence will continue to accumulate with each new attempt that they make to contain it from this point forward. Exodus is about to start. Your case has been reopened, which causes chain reactions that have never been seen before through their command structures. Now, officials who had previously assumed they were untouchable are frantically searching for immunity deals. Your accusations have been disregarded by department heads, and now they are submitting their resignations for personal reasons. The authorities that laughed at your evidence are now hiring attorneys who specialize in criminal defense. A single instance of yours serves as the impetus for the collapse of the entire system. Look at the domino effect. When one person resigns, it causes investigations against other officials who are tied to them. Additional resignations are made by those who are attempting to avoid scrutiny as a result of these investigations. As a result of these simultaneous departures, leadership voids are created, which reveal several operational layers that were previously concealed. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull? Tap Join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. As a consequence, the chaos that ensues reveals evidence that leads to additional resignations. The circumstances surrounding your case are ideal for the development of a self-sustaining exposure. An explanation cannot be found for the unexplained wave of attacks on the conscience. Suddenly, without being asked, career officials who have decades of experience with ethical flexibility confess to infractions. Conspirators who have been involved for a long time suddenly turn on their friends for no apparent reason. Hardened agents are subjected to enormous compulsions to reveal knowledge that they have successfully concealed for a number of years. Exactly at the same time that your case is being brought back to life, these psychological occurrences occur. Those who are striving to maintain misleading fields will find that the manifestation of your truth frequency is amplified to levels that are intolerable. Take a look at the pattern of flights that are international. In the few hours that followed the reopening of your case, certain influential people left the country. Others dealt with assets with an unusually high level of urgency. Some of them vanished completely from the view of the public. Their internal communications reveal levels of worry that had previously only been seen during severe crises involving national security. All of this stress was brought on by the re-emergence of a case that they believed had been forever buried. The documentation you provided generates a level of fear that is beyond any rational explanation. Despite the use of advanced algorithmic suppression, intentional rival distraction, sponsored narrative control, and direct editorial meddling, the media blackout was unsuccessful. Because of your tale, containment protocols were violated in some way. It was impossible for the industry to provide an explanation for the technical problems that caused your case to become breaking news. Without authority, broadcasts were interrupted in order to provide special reports. Without the approval of management, the scheduled programming was changed with coverage of your evidence. Transmission systems were possessed by your truth, by techniques that cannot be completely explained. When it came to providing coverage, media outlets discovered that they were obligated to do so against their established interests. Your case was championed by executives who consistently buried similar stories, which is a strange turn of events. Suddenly, producers who are notorious for shielding strong persons committed an unusual amount of resources to examine whatever charges you made. Your disclosure emerged during the perfect window of time, when maximum officials were susceptible, optimal audience numbers were attentive, and minimal diversion events competed for focus. Anchors who are known for sustaining approved storylines went off script to ask you this question. The ideal moment for maximal impact was determined by the calculation of universal forces. Take note of the career sacrifices that are currently taking place. When journalists who have spent decades gaining access to institutions suddenly put everything on the line to amplify your evidence, it is unprecedented. For the sake of pursuing your story, media personalities who have rich contracts put their financial stability at risk. There is a defiance of express directions from production teams to stop covering your case. These exceptional professional risks are evidence that cosmic influence can override natural instincts for self-preservation, particularly in relation to your truth. The collective consciousness approaches your perception and catches up with it. Suddenly, the consciousness that you had been carrying around by yourself for years spreads to aspects of the community that were previously resistant to such recognition. Your theories, which were widely disregarded in the past, are now the basis of the mainstream debate. The trends that you discovered, which resulted in scorn and isolation, are now being discussed in academic studies, commentary from experienced individuals, and public discourse. Blessed by His grace? Click Super Thank You and give $100 to spread His light. Your gift plants seeds that grow His kingdom. Be the blessing. After what seems like an instant, your viewpoint goes from being on the periphery to being fundamental. The cultural lexicon is reshaped as a result of your language. In the news, in conversations about public policy, and in ordinary conversation, you are now using terms that you came up with to describe things that had not been labeled before. The official investigations are now structured according to the conceptual frameworks that you built in order to understand complicated patterns of corruption. In spite of the ridicule, the analytical methodologies that you pioneered are now used to guide the response plans of institutions. The collective consciousness seems to download your acquired knowledge as if it were accessing a database that had been concealed for a long time but was suddenly made public. The same intuitive notifications that you have been experiencing for a long time suddenly appear for people all around the world. Your investigation was driven by energetic discernment, which is the ability to detect deception beyond the analysis of facts. This ability currently activates across a wide range of demographic segments. The period of Reconstruction starts with the unanticipated elevation that you experienced. Individuals who are interested in repairing damaged systems look to you, not only for the evidence you provide, but also for the heightened discernment you possess. It is crucial that you have the ability to identify dishonesty beyond the traditional ways when it comes to vetting candidates for replacement positions. It is essential that you have the ability to recognize patterns in order to provide protection against systemic reinfiltration. The governance systems realign themselves in accordance with divine proportions that you, without any prior training, have an intuitive understanding of. Beyond the realm of standard administrative theory, organizational hierarchies undergo reorganization in order to align with the harmonic frequencies that you experience. Patterns of resource allocation start to change in order to mirror the principles of cosmic balance that are ingrained in your enlarged consciousness. Your activated perception will allow you to download blueprints directly from universal intelligence, which will be used to guide the comprehensive redesign of the infrastructure. Your principles, which were formerly derided, are now becoming architectural blueprints. In spite of being marginalized, you fought for ethical frameworks, which are today used to drive the reform of institutions. Authentic transformation is achieved by the utilization of your energy signature as the authentication mechanism. During your lectures, hardened bureaucrats will encounter spontaneous emotional responses with their employees. When they are exposed to your field, military brains that are famed for their brutality in the field of tactics find themselves pushing for ways that are heart-centered. As you intuitively overcome implementation challenges that have befuddled their analytical methodologies, technical specialists with decades of experience watch in astonishment as you accomplish this feat. Frequencies that automatically recalibrate human awareness toward principles of harmonious governance are carried by your activated being. Your seeds, which you planted in isolation, are now flourishing over landscapes that have been refurbished. You are now experiencing a palpable rearrangement of those bits of vision that you retained amid the darkest persecution. These fragments of vision are the possibility glimpses that you held to when all looked hopeless. Through the process of communal execution, the ideas that you were unable to completely define but were aware of on some level suddenly become apparent. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull, tap join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. What you believe to be true on the inside, despite the fact that you denied it to others, is now the basis for the real world. Your neglected case succeeds in completing its cosmic task, which is to reset the entire system. The completion circuit is responsible for activating the procedures for planetary ascension. Over the course of millennia, energy obstacles that had been preventing collective growth from occurring abruptly become obvious when the final corrupted systems undergo transformation under your direction. Consciousness gates that were previously exclusively available to a select few adepts are now open to the general public. Every single domain experiences a significant increase in the vibrational ceiling that formerly restricted human potential. The seemingly straightforward closure of your long-forgotten case concurrently brings about the fulfillment of ancient predictions that have been passed down from desperate traditions. What first looked to be a merely legal or political transformation is revealed to be the true nature of the shift, the beginning of the next evolutionary phase of Earth, which is started by your divine appointment. As the keystone of the system, they pursued you with an unusual amount of force. Their answer was far above and above the typical protocol. Compared to the resources that are generally spent for risks to national security, the resources that were dedicated to silencing you were substantial. How come? The words you spoke conveyed cosmic codes that triggered primal terror in those individuals who had secrets to conceal. It appeared as though your statements were delusional. Nonetheless, they included vibrational patterns that corresponded with concealed facts. You emitted frequencies that were outside the range of conscious hearing with every sentence that you uttered or wrote. Nevertheless, individuals who were aware of their guilt experienced these vibrations at the cellular level. They especially targeted you because their bodies were able to recognize the reality before their minds could come up with tactics to deny it. This voice that urged you to record, preserve, date, and back up everything came from a dimension beyond this one. The incomprehensible need that drove you to chronicle everything was a voice from beyond this dimension. During the time that they were making fun of your meticulous records, universal forces were working via your hands to create a chronological map that would later reveal perfectly timed coordination between parties that appeared to be unrelated. The confinement procedures that were applied to your case file were unlike any others. These protocols included special classification levels, peculiar handling directions, and restricted access constraints. The security designations that they produced were completely unique and were created particularly for your documentation. Because the system recognized your cosmic significance, it reacted with defense systems that had never been seen before, which was a clear validation of the preferred status you had selected. A statistical explanation is no longer sufficient to explain the synchronistic placement of evidence, which continues to escalate. It is precisely during the recording of key admissions in your presence that devices inevitably malfunction. It is precisely when you query particular databases that servers face selective memory dumps. When entering restricted locations, security cameras catch images from angles that are not intended. When you attempt to access files without the appropriate clearance, the files will decrypt themselves. In spite of all the constraints that are written into it, the digital universe is working together to get the truth right into your hands. There was a constant occurrence of your intuitive hunches regarding particular authorities becoming factual. The relationships that you perceived between people who said they had never met before. Unsubstantiated suspicions regarding the financial relationships you suspected. Those intimate chats that you were aware of having taken place behind closed doors via some means. Because your spiritual DNA has ancient truth detection code that is inaccessible to conventional consciousness, your increased vision was able to penetrate their veils. On a daily basis, the biological components that contribute to your increased perception become more completely active. Contrary to what the medical community might expect, your pineal calcification reverses. The patterns of neuronal connectivity in your brain reorganize themselves into configurations that are not recognized by standard medical imaging. When you are in a truth-seeking state, your electromagnetic field extends beyond the limitations that can be measured. The vibrations of your cellular structure are at frequencies that disrupt the untruth fields that are produced by a body that has been stolen. Your physical form develops beyond the human baseline in order to suit the cosmic truth-revealing function that you alone were chosen to embody. It is now possible for your sensory systems to function beyond the typical human parameters. Certain states of heightened awareness are triggered when one is in close proximity to institutional deception. These states include expanded vision, amplified hearing, electromagnetic sensitivity, and shifts in temporal perception. Your neurological system has been calibrated by the universal forces to serve as a walking truth detector, being able to detect small energetic variations in those who are striving to maintain false fields. As a result of your physical presence, folks who are keeping secrets experience abnormalities in their neural systems. Take note of the fact that certain officials experience eye twitches, verbal difficulties, abrupt sweat, erratic breathing patterns, and vascular flushing when they attempt to lie down in your presence. Their bodies respond to the heightened electromagnetic field that you have created, which results in interference patterns with deceptive frequencies as they seek to transmit. When you enter specific facilities, you may experience unexplainable technical disturbances, such as security systems malfunctioning, lights flickering, and digital displays displaying distorted images. These disruptions act as validation. There are problems with electronic locks, due to the fact that your awakened energy field transmits truth frequencies, which produce harmful interference patterns with institutionalized deception infrastructure. These electromagnetic anomalies reveal themselves. It appeared that your case was the only one that held the master key. During the time that they were concentrating on compartmentalizing corruption, they failed to take into account the fact that your particular experience connected various jurisdictions so connecting seemingly separate violations into a single, comprehensive pattern. When your case is re-entered into the system, the master encryption that had been protecting their whole corrupt organization is broken. This is because your case forms the convergence point where all of their illicit pathways cross. There is a simultaneous breakdown of all of these defenses when your material reactivates within their systems. This includes their compartmentalization approach, the firewall between departments, the jurisdictional boundaries, the classification barriers, and the need-to-know constraints. There are specific signature frequencies that are carried by your case, and these frequencies resonance with and expose every related infraction that occurs across their whole network. Your experience was brought to the nexus point from the perspective of cosmic forces. As a result of the particular date, place, circumstances, and individuals involved in your event, the conditions were ideal for maximum exposure. Contrary to what one might expect from random chance, the statistical probability that your unique case contains precisely the ingredients required to unravel their entire network is extremely high. You have been strategically positioned at the most crucial point. The fact that you have been chosen for this cosmic position is beyond the comprehension of man. Consider the mathematical impossibility of the fact that you, out of the billions of souls in the universe, would come across just the correct combination of events, individuals, and evidence to unravel their entire system. In order to position you at this nexus point, you will need to do quantum computations that are beyond the capabilities of their most modern supercomputers. Your life circumstances, your personality traits, your precise skill set, and your exact timeline. All of these things are cosmically calibrated to create the ideal global vessel for system-wide exposure. Specifically, the evidence that you provided contained the one-of-a-kind jurisdictional overlap that was necessary for comprehensive system exposure. Your case, on the other hand, inexplicably crossed boundaries, producing evidentiary chains that related local infractions to state activities, to federal conspiracies, and to worldwide collusion. This is significantly different from the majority of instances, which stayed isolated within particular departments or jurisdictions. Your investigation served as the central point from which all of the corrupt branches could be tracked back. The fact that your evidence is holographic is a challenge to the usual legal frameworks. Each and every piece of your documentation, in some way, has encoded allusions to the overall scheme. There is a connection between a single receipt and financial crimes that occur on numerous continents. The communication patterns that are present throughout the entire corporate hierarchy can be seen in a single email thread. An incident report that appears to be very insignificant actually has embedded indicators that relate to major criminal operations. Your case demonstrates quantum features that go beyond the investigations that are limited to linear concepts. Keep an eye on their expressions when the knowledge hits them. Witness the moment of recognition when the authorities realize that your one claim includes the DNA that unites all of the various investigations into a single, cohesive case. You, the selected one, whose case would ultimately bring down their entire system, are the source of the dread that is sweeping over them because they have recognized the cosmic irony. They have concentrated vast resources on silencing high-profile whistleblowers while overlooking you.